But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Lots of winning going on recently. My Ottawa Senators are back on the board, where you got a nice win. The Canadian Limbo Party last night wins over the Conservatives. Plenty of trophies being handed out right now in the volleyball world, and that's what we're here to talk about. It is Tuesday, right? Tuesday,
Yep.
April 29th. This is episode 154, and this is the 9x9, the best 81 square meters of volleyball content on the internet. My name is Everett Delorme from Toronto. That is Rob St. Clair from Chicago. I'm in a
random hotel in Western Virginia right now. I'm like,
regardless.
Yeah, I'm like an hour and a half west of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., which is why my setup is weird and our calendar is weird, and we're going live so much earlier than usual. So you're welcome.
They know these things now, though. They know these things now, right? They know that you're going to show up half the time in a random hotel room somewhere in like middle America.
That does happen. It does happen.
That does happen. I will say, Rob, that I do think that this show, it might be one of the brightest examples of international relations between our two countries right now. Let's get into it. There's been so much going on. The reality is, Rob, is that we only have men's volleyball to talk about, really, right? All the major women's leagues are done, right? We've seen champions in Italy, we've seen champions in Poland, and right now we are only talking about the men. And I think there's only one place that we can start. There's only one story that we have to talk about. Holy shit, Perugia. Whoa. Holy shit, Perugia. What are you doing? What happened? What is going on? Rob, what do you think happened here in this match?
My goodness. Yeah, well, it's another one in a long list of all-time chokes and collapses by the Perugia franchise. Up 2-0 in the series in the semifinals against Lube Civitanova.
Injured Lube Civitanova.
Right. Lube Civitanova without their captain and one of their most important players in Fabio Balasso. Perugia loses at home in match number 3. They get swept on the road in match number 4. And now in match number 5, back in Perugia, Lube comes on the road and beats them in 4 to complete the reverse sweep of the series. And the first number that very obviously jumps out is 17.
Mm-hmm.
17 service aces in 4 sets for Lube Civitanova with the series on the line. And they deserve a lot of credit, but
yes,
an equal amount of the blame is Perugia's reception unit. I think we got to start there.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of this series, for Lube to have a chance, they needed to serve well, right? That was going to be their bread and butter in this match. And it wasn't just aces, but they needed to get Perugia off the net. They needed to get them out of system. They needed to limit their options offensively. And the best way to do that was to get them off the net. I didn't think they'd take my advice this much to heart. It was an absolute massacre. You could just feel Perugia's service eve trembling in their little boots when almost anyone from Lube went back. Like Poria might be the best serving sub of all time.
One of the best serving sub performances I have ever seen.
Ever seen. Nikolov, obviously, he's lethal. Lagumja was terrific. But Mattia Botolo. How much can you say about Mattia Botolo? And now when we talk about this final series, there's another conversation that I want to have about him, around him. But oh my goodness, everything that Lube did in this match just touched to goal. They really, in my opinion, they really controlled it. Even that first set was theirs. I think Perugia's lucky that it wasn't a 3-dom.
They were. Perugia came back and stole that first set. I think they were, what was it? It was probably 23-20 Lube, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't remember the details, but like Lube had that set. They had control. They had Perugia on the ropes, and Perugia came back and stole it. And I mean, Wasim Bentara's serving was one of the only things that made this match competitive. After that, Perugia didn't look like they knew where they were. They didn't look like they knew what sport they were playing. I don't know if I've ever seen a reception breakdown like that. And
No.
so it was outstanding serving from all of the four main serving weapons on Lube's side. Like, forget the middles, and Bonifante was very conservative, but Poria, the service sub, and then the three wings, Nikolov, Legumja, Botolo, just rocketing balls to every spot, to every seam, to every receiver. Ishikawa aced 8 times. Semeniuk aced 7 times. Plotnitsky barely even saw the court, and like I did not think this was possible.
Of his receptions.
Right. That's disgusting. I did not think this result was possible at the beginning of this series. I really didn't.
No, it was incredible. And I think, to me, if I look at where this broke down, like, yes, the reception was atrocious, absolutely atrocious for Perugia. But at the same time, the choice of options offensively chosen by Gianelli, like, it just seems like Gianelli lost the handle completely on his team as well. And this is a second straight big event, if we go back to the Olympics, where he's shit the bed in the semifinals. Right? Because, like, right now, if you're Gino Cerci, is it the fact that he's putting on too much pressure, or is he sitting there being like, what the fuck do I have to do? Like, what the fuck do I have to do to make this team be one of the best, right? And maybe this is let's go back to the conversation that we're always having in terms of, like, institutional quality and what you do on the around things. You know, we don't know enough about Perugia as a club to fully say that. But you went out. We know that they're
unique. That's for sure.
They are unique. But you went out and got, on paper, the best roster in volleyball. I'm sorry, Ishikawa, Semeniuk should be able to handle any serving lineup in the world. And, like, there is no reason for two absolute superstars to be putting up a combined 15 aces. Like, they got aced 15 times between the two of them. What the hell is going on? I know Kalachi is worth a bag of rice out there, so, like, it's not like he was helping, but he was better than both of them.
Way better.
On more targets, right? And so this situation for me also comes down to, like the serve receive is terrible. Gianelli, his inability to lead this team, right? And even if something isn't happening in serve receive, then you got to do something with it. You have the best one of the best group of outside hitters in the world. Do something with it.
For real.
Do something with it, please. Please, for God, do anything but just get bullied out there. And that's what they did. They got bullied.
They did get bullied. They got bullied by a team that believed in themselves, that was well coached, that was well prepared for the matchup. And Lube Civitanova deserves to win this series without question. Like, Perugia's it's another franchise failure for them. And we've made fun of Gino Cerci quite a bit on this show for being the Jerry Jones of volleyball, for being such an overbearing owner. But, like, Gino Cerci, the general manager, as far as the guy who created the roster, I agree with you. He's probably thinking, what more can I do? What more can I do? All he does is create incredible groups of athletes. The general manager Cerci deserves no blame whatsoever. The owner Cerci, who, like, is responsible for team culture and all that, like, that is a more interesting and very unique conversation. But, like, he has put together tremendous rosters, this being one of the very best. Another thing that I thought was interesting was that the middle attackers, Loser and Soleil, hit 1,000 combined, 15 for 15 combined. So when the ball was in position to feed those guys, they were literally unstoppable. They went 15 for 15. And maybe Gianelli needs to go there more. I mean, 15 attempts in 4 sets, regardless of reception, is not enough.
And this is where I really question Gianelli when it comes to how in touch he is emotionally with his team, especially in bigger matches, right? Where he's not really having, like, if I can compare this to maybe like Bieniek and Zawiercie. When Zawiercie's in the hole, Tavares is looking for Bieniek, right? He is looking for him because he knows he is a difference maker. Both Soleil and Loser are difference makers. Both of these guys are, like, these guys helped anchor a bronze medal at the Olympics together for Argentina. They know how to make big plays, and you didn't utilize that enough. There's so many breakdowns the way this happened. Like, Lorenzetti looked absolutely lost for words on the sidelines. Like,
Yeah,
he didn't know what the hell to say, what was going on. Whereas I think on the other way, you have to give so much credit to Midday. You have to
absolutely
give so much credit to this Lube. And I mean, fuck, talking about good organizations, talk about a roster and talk about a club that time and time, how many times, Rob St. Clair, have we questioned them? How many times have we thought, you know what, Lube isn't the normal Lube this year. Lube isn't the, and they always figure it out. And it doesn't matter if they have DeCecco. It doesn't matter if they have Blengini. It doesn't matter who they do. Doesn't matter who is wearing the colors and on the sidelines, they can get it done. So much credit to them.
Yeah, there's magic in the threads of that red and black uniform. I don't know how they do it, but clearly that is a franchise that has figured it out. They are able to create teams and build teams over the course of a season that become more than the sum of their parts. And I give them tremendous credit, because pretty much every year, you're right, every preseason, we're like, what the hell is this Lube roster? And then here they are. They win the Coppa Italia, and they're playing in the Scudetto final. It's really unbelievable. And like, so some of the numbers, the team numbers set by set in match number 5 here were really interesting to me. Obviously, the Aces 17 is insane, but like, it wasn't like they went on 1 or 2 runs. It was balanced. In every set, they had at least 4 aces. So they were bringing it literally every single point, every single rotation. The other thing that I loved is
in Perugia too.
Yes, on the road.
Away. On the
other
road.
thing that I loved is to close the game out. So they had 6 blocks on the match. Lube did as a team. 5 of them were in the 4th set. So when they needed to close out the series, they figured it out. They turned up the heat, and they flipped the switch and stuff blocking to block the lights out and send Perugia home. It was really amazing.
You could tell that after the third, that there was like a different energy, and Perugia came out really hard actually in the 4th. And I was watching it. I was like, okay, good. We're going to see a 5th here. We're going to see a 5th. And then I found that one of the things that I found that why Lube was able to like just zone in on them is Perugia's offense is just not varied enough.
No, it's not.
Even when they go to but yeah, exactly. Even when they go to the middles, there's no, like, he's not really moving them around. Like, he runs the 31, he runs the 50. Like, there's nothing really in behind. You're not really like pushing them. He's not really pulling them. It's just very straight up. It's just very methodical. And now he's really good at delivering the ball, and he's really good at putting the ball in a hittable position. But if that hittable position is continuously hitting into, a solid block, you're not really getting anywhere. Yeah, it was wild. My big question right now is, Rob, about just going back to Gino Cerci right now. If you have put together this roster, you moved away from quote unquote the best player in volleyball last year to focus on your guys, right? To bring in Ishikawa, to focus on Semeniuk and Ole, who, basically brought you the championship last year. And you have this result, and you look over to Poland and you watch what Leon's just done. How fucking mad are you? How pissed off right now are you on so many different levels? And on that other note, did you see that one video of Cerci giving the Perugia fans the finger?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. There is literally a video. Someone posted in the Discord. Someone posted in the podcast chat for Rob to see. There is a video of Cerci giving the Perugia fans the finger. I'm sure he's pissed off too. Something needs to happen over there, and I'm not quite entirely sure.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's weird to feel sympathy for Gino Cerci, but honestly, I do, because I don't think this is his fault. I mean, he built a great team. They were up 2-0 in the series, and they blew it. This is a choke job without question. I don't think it's not the same magnitude of choke job as like the first round of Milano 2 years ago. No. That will never be topped, but it's right up there to be reverse swept in the series with 2 games at home and a team like this and a chance to win it. And so Perugia will play in the 3rd place series. Actually, match 1 is going on right now. Perugia versus Piacenza. The other real interesting thing is Perugia still has a chance to win the Champions League.
Yes,
they've got Halkbank in that semifinal like 2 weekends from now. So we're not done talking about Perugia yet for the season.
No, and I mean, like the Rob was saying to me earlier, he's like, I hate that they play a 3rd game season, but this is 3rd game series, but this is massive for Champions League.
Oh yeah, I like it for having Champions League on the line. It definitely matters.
It is at 18-14 for Perugia in the first.
Okay, Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We are on to the final series. Everett, you did a watch along for game 1 yesterday, and this to me looked like one team who had a week and a half of rest, and the other team who would just had to complete a reverse sweep comeback in their semifinal series. And Trentino mercilessly donged Lube Civitanova on Sunday.
Yeah, there was one team who was ready to go and ready to play, and there's one team who looks really, really tired.
That's okay. Honestly, that's okay.
Honestly, if you're Lube, if you're the way that they've been playing too, I don't have a problem with it.
Same.
I really don't. I think that they're able to gather information really, really well, and I think that there's a lot of belief on their side too, and it's really easy to just wipe off this first game because they just looked tired, right? They looked a step behind what they were against Perugia. Now, if they're going to be able to get that back, like they're still playing from behind in that situation, but having to play Thursday and then Sunday right away, like you only have 2 days to turn it around.
Yeah, that's
and on
tough.
top of that, both of those are away matches. So are you going straight from Perugia to Trentino? Probably. That's really tough, but I do think that this one is going to be very interesting. As you said, I did do a watch along through during this game. Honestly, it was kind of a boring game to do a watch along for. It was just Trentino just really beating up on Lube. But there was an interesting moment where we had the one and only Mr. Stephen Marr join us in the chat.
The legend.
And he did verify himself. I asked him a pretty specific question that only he would know, and he was able to answer it. So that was awesome. And he actually told me that he thinks Lube, he's picking Lube in this series, mostly because of Trentino's tendency to go to position 4, aka go to the left side after 20, right? And so all he said is that like Lube is just going to serve Trentino short after 20, and then they're going to be able to execute on Michieletto. So even though it is Trentino 1-0, I still think this series is wide open. I'm expecting it to go all the way.
I completely agree. I think the series is definitely wide open. Lube has shown that losing match 1 in a series does not matter to them. It doesn't affect their ability to win the series. I mean, if there was one game to kind of punt and get your feet wet a little bit and not worry about the result, it's this game on the road, like you said, with only 2 days off after the semi. So they'll go home. When's game 2? I think it's Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, this week Thursday. They'll go home and they'll give it a shot. I like that scouting report from Steve Marr. I mean, it will force Trentino to set the ball to somebody other than Alessandro Michieletto after point 20, and he's great. I mean, he game 1, 15 for 28, 4 blocks and an ace for 20 points. Like 20 points in 3 sets is disgusting, but they will have to have at least one other threatening option after point 20. And I like the scouting report, like you said, of serving Trentino short. Clearly Lube is well coached, and we'll see how this series goes. This game 1 doesn't do anything to me about like drawing conclusions for the series in one way or the other.
No, it like there was nothing emphatic about it. Even then, I really think that Lube held their own despite the fatigue and just despite not operating at the same level that they have been. I mean, their serving was still really good, 7 aces compared to 13 errors. That's a really good that's a really good ratio over there. Their passing wasn't fantastic. You'd like to see them kind of in system a little bit more, but when you look at it, Butolo had a very average game for 3 for 10 with a negative efficiency, no aces. Mattia Bonifante didn't have a great game either. Like we saw Santiago Orduna come in all the way through. I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see Eric Lepke like a little bit more for one of the outsides, like take off someone, but I do like Nikolov was also having a pretty good game out there. So I think that this one is a pretty good wash, and especially since you're going home for game number 2, right? Yeah. So you go home, you get to sleep in your own bed. The boys get to see their wife and kids. You have a day off, and you get back into the gym. I think game number 2 is going to be a lot better.
Yep, I agree. All right, so that's it for Italy. Not the only country where we had serious drama in the semifinals, and a number 1 seed or a defending champ was knocked out. Poland. Oh man, Saturday.
Let's go.
Saturday was an all-time day. These 2 Polish semifinals back to back were truly, truly insane. And the final is set, maybe the most unlikely, unpredictable final that we might see anywhere in Europe this year. Luk Lublin against Aleron Varta Zawiercie. Both of those teams win dramatic 5-setters in match number 3 on Saturday. Just ridiculous. Which series do you want to start with, Everett?
Let's start with the JW one. I will say, though, that we were within a few points of having a Lublin Warszawa series in the finals, which would
it was so close.
Yeah,
so close.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to start with this one because this one was a really, really interesting one for me. I think that this is another choke job, a little bit from
100%.
Vangel. For so many reasons. I had to go back and watch this one on Volleymetrics because Jastrzębski, who's the defending champs, the number 1 team in the league, are arguably the best team in the league, was unable to defend home court against what is like twice, right? You hadn't lost to Lublin all year, and all of a sudden you can't beat them at home twice. I thought this series was done, but Lublin brought a different energy for this one, and Jastrzębski didn't. They did it was so weird. They couldn't get the P2 position going. Timothy Carl was terrible. Vincentine was just as bad coming in. They really struggled at stopping Lublin at all, really. I don't even think that and Lublin's offense isn't really that varied. They really don't toss it up all that much. I think they really underutilize their middle. Not to mention that JSW's middles really bullied Grozdanov, and in my opinion, they underused Finn McCarthy. There was just so many things for JSW that there would be times too where Jurczyk would also he's a fucking 19-year-old out there, would also almost make a play and unable to, and some of their guys like Tony Uti, I think his emotional response a lot of the time I really didn't like. There was a lot of issues for me watching this Jastrzębski team, and ultimately I think Fornal, who was incredible through 4 sets, right? He had 22 points after 3. He was ridiculous and everything. He was the one who was keeping them in. Goes absolutely cold in that 5th set.
1 for 8 with 2 errors in the 5th.
Yeah, just the numbers there for Jastrzębski. It's like they forgot that there was going to be a 5th set and that they needed to play it, and it's like they thought that it was just going to be given to them because they were the higher seed. And on the other team, you had a motivated team who believed in themselves. And
felt very similar to Lube Civitanova, who Lublin beat for the CEV Challenge Cup. I mean, that vibe, that belief late in a do or die game in a series felt similar to me. And the story to me, the great breakdown, by the way, post watching it on Volleymetrics. The supporting cast is the difference. Kevin Sasak, 22 points, 17 for 34, 5 blocks, compared to the combination of Kaczmarek, Carl, and Vicentine for JSW. That's the difference. That's it.
I thought the Kaczmarek was actually pretty good.
He was average, but the P2 position was a black hole.
It was a black hole, absolutely. But I will say that watching it back on Volleymetrics, Kaczmarek has to deal with a lot of junk.
Yeah, he does.
He has to deal with a lot of junk. And Rob, I asked you a question a few weeks ago on who you thought your top 10 setters were, and I was making a list as well. And I don't know if after that, this is an exaggeration, of course, but Tony Uti looked bad. His rhythm, his location, his defense. He is a negative defender. I am literally. I want to make a compilation of Tony Uti literally jumping out of the way of balls being hit at him, right? And that was one thing. Lublin obviously knew this too. The amount of tips over the block, I think they scored 3 or 4 times throughout the match with just tips over the block.
Yep.
And Tony Uti doesn't hit the floor. He does not hit the floor. So he is an ultimate liability everywhere defensively. Not only in the block is he a liability in defense, but dude doesn't hit the floor on defense at all. So you need Danny Kinda over there to get them going in Jastrzębski Vangel. But I think it's really indicative that Leon in his own had more points, more attacking points than JSW in the 5th set. Right, he was 4 for 6 in attacking, and they were 3 for 14 while getting blocked.
Wow.
In that fifth set.
That is an insane disparity. And I mean, a lot of people throughout this series have been clowning on Tomáš Fornal a little bit, myself included, because every time he gets a kill and stares down through the net, it makes me want to punch him. But Fornal is the entire reason JSW even got to set 5 in this match. He was the only attacker with a pulse. But there is a difference for sure. Like you just said, when you get into the 5th set of the last match in a series, do or die, back against the wall, everything possible on the line. Some people are that dude and some people are not. Wilfredo León is that dude.
Yeah.
He is that dude. He has it in his veins, that which you cannot teach. Wilfredo León is that dude, and Tomáš Fornal is not.
Not yet. Not right now. Anyways. But yeah, León knows how to win. And I think, as much as I do think that like one guy who was fantastic for Berlin was Anton Brehme.
He was
ridiculous in 8 for 9. He gets 3 block touches and 2 aces. He was fantastic.
Landy alert for Anton Brehme, 10 points on 9 attacking attempts.
Hey, you're not right. You're not wrong. Hubert was terribly offensively, 2 for 6 with a 16% efficiency, but he did have 6 blocks. But yeah, all around, just a really disappointing performance. If you're Jastrzębski, just having like I think that Jakub Jurczyk actually did a pretty good job. Right, 40%, 8%, 48% positive, 19% perfect.
As good as
not great, but it's better. It's better than Fornal. Right, he passed better than Fornal. And yeah, once again, I think just watching it back on Volleymetrics and watching how Jastrzębski reacts to each other in between points, I think I'm not too surprised. Like that team doesn't necessarily act like a team.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one noticing it.
Kaczmarek is a dude like. The more I watch him, the more I like him, right? And it really, like, he does the little things. He picks up the slack, like he passes free balls, he plays defense, he makes plays, he sets out a system, he makes good blocks, and then everyone gets on him because maybe he's not the most efficient or like best attacker, but he's so complete as a right side player, but he also does so many different little things. Like the amount of times where like guys are like, have their head downs and he's the one who's going over to pick them up. Fornal isn't doing that. Toniutti isn't doing that. It's like Brehme and Kaczmarek. Like, especially like if you see him, like it almost was like he was taking Jurczyk on as like his little brother and making sure that he was good play in, play out. Whereas like the amount of times that like Fornal is just in his own head and like muttering and like looking up and like giving the laziest of high five to Jurczyk as he's bringing energy and he's getting things going. Yeah, I think it was terrible. Especially like Rob, as you said, I think for me, one of the conversations that I want to have is that Lublin is the most impressive team this year by far.
Without question. I was just about to say that this is only their 4th season in the PlusLiga ever.
But ever. I think too, when you look at this roster, this is a roster of leftovers. You realistically, you only have 2 world-class players on this roster. You have León and Talis Hos. Other than that, you have 2 pretty good middle prospects in Grozdanov and McCarthy. And then you have warmed over leftovers. Savicki, like Benny Twinstra, Sosek, Komenda. Like these are the guys that you're leaning on, and they're doing better than the Fornals, then the Kaczmareks, then Tilly and Brand and all of those other Bolange, other guys on Warszawa. Like, this is not a roster on paper that I would deem to be in the finals. And I've said it all year long, but this team has had the ability to come together and execute when needed. There's so much credit that needs to be given to this club, but also that supporting cast. You have a bunch of leftovers. This is Jimmy Butler taking the 3rd guys in Minnesota and then screaming out, "You guys fucking need me," because that's exactly. Real ones know that reference. This is exactly what it is. It's León going out there and proving, hey, fuck you, Perugia. You can go out and get all the fucking stars you want. I'm going to take the guys that you wouldn't even look at for your bench guys, and I'm going to go get myself into the PlusLiga finals with them. Thank you very much. we'll see you next year in the Champions League.
It does remind me of when Jimmy Butler dragged the corpse of the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals a couple of years ago. It's like, and the coaching job done by Massimo Botti with this team needs to be studied and then praised a lot, because this achievement is absolutely incredible. Your 4th season ever in arguably the best, definitely the most top to bottom competitive league in the world, and they're in a final and they will play Champions League next year. It's just unbelievable for Luk Lublin. I mean, so this year they'll take 1 or 2. Last year 5th, the previous year 10th, 2022 11th in the PlusLiga, and then the year before that they got promoted from the 2nd division. Really just an incredible ascension and an incredible story. And I'm really excited to see them play in the final. I don't think they should be overlooked by any means, because if they can win 2 matches on the road at Jastrzębski, who's been there before, who's done it, who has that roster, they should not be discounted against Aleron CMC Varta Zawiercie, boys and girls. I was standing up in my living room screaming watching this 5th set. You're crazy.
It's wild that you're such a homer for
dude. It's not. I am 100%. This is the closest I have ever felt to being a legitimate fan of a club volleyball team ever, because we don't have them in the United States. But I don't know why. I just feel myself really, really rooting for this Zawiercie team, and they completed another miraculous 5th set comeback win to advance to the final, and they did it without Aaron Russell and without Karl Butryn. And the first man that needs a shout out and that needs an apology from many is Kyle Ensing. 14 for 21 with no errors off the bench, and he was the dude down the stretch in the 5th set. Who would have thought?
Someone in the chat, I don't know if it was this game or game 2, and was just like, what's going on? Like, Butryn's playing like shit, but we went out and got fucking Kyle Ensing, and bitching about it. It's like, he's not an option. But like, for a few sets, it didn't look like truly, it did look like in set number 4 that, or set number 3, that they just kind of threw in the towel a little bit, right? Like in set number 3, they're going to take off Aaron Russell. They're going to take off Karl Butryn.
So here's the thing about that. So Butryn got hurt. He tweaked an ankle, and there were I don't know the details of this, but somebody who's Polish and really plugged in the PlusLiga DM'd me on Instagram that it was some different specific kind of injury related substitution that prevented Butryn from coming back into the match at all. And then they were constrained by the foreigner limit with Russell, because they had to put in their only backup opposite option is Ensing. Then they weren't compliant with the foreigner limit, so they had to put in Patrick Waba for Aaron Russell. So there was something weird going on there. Russell wasn't great. He certainly wasn't good enough on offense, but he got benched out of necessity for the foreigner limit.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder what happened, if he reached a stage of medical treatment there's no coming back from. I mean, this is coming from a hockey background where dudes get stitched up and then come back in, or they break femurs and then they just get a cortisone shot on the bench and then they go out and battle some more. I couldn't imagine a situation where he wouldn't be allowed to get back in. Yes, Europeans, that is me calling you all pussies,
which they are.
Which goes doubly for baseball players and golfers. But yeah, that is a wild scenario. It does make sense. I watched this one somewhat while doing some other things, not as intently as I had watched the first match, but I didn't see Aaron Russell come out. I just saw that he wasn't on the court, but I was looking at his numbers and looking at the way he was playing. I was like, okay, this doesn't make that this isn't that surprising.
Yeah, he wasn't very good, but when Butryn went out and Russell therefore had to go out, and then they subbed in Patrick Waba and Kyle Ensing, it was easy to assume from that point that it was over. This was midway through the 3rd set that all right, Zawiercie is going to struggle mightily without their probably 2 primary scorers to hang around and beat a good Warszawa team, and they still found a way to come back and do it. And Bartosz Kfolek deserves a huge amount of credit for keeping them afloat in the meantime. While Waba and Ensing got in and tried to figure it out, Bartosz Kfolek became the go-to guy on offense. And that is not his play style, but his decision-making offensively was world class. World class in and out of system offensive decision making. I was really impressed by him. His team needed him badly, and he delivered in a tough spot.
For me, it really came down to Miguel Tavares, right? Like, it came to how he managed his team and how he manages his offense down the stretch.
Real similar to match number 2, where when chaos was going on around him, he made the right decisions. He kept the middle involved as late as possible. I loved it.
Yeah, like if you look at the efficiency numbers from Waba and Ensing, in set 4, Waba was 80% efficiency. He was 4 for 5, no errors. Ensing was 6 for 9 with a 66% efficiency, no errors. And then same thing in the fifth set, right? 6 for 7 offensively was Kyle Ensing, and Waba was 1 for 1. He just managed that offense really, really well. Anytime he needed something of a any type of like, hey, if we're going to go high ball, we're going to Quolek.
Yep.
Right. Like if I need to go to a high ball, I need to go to any out of system situation, we're going to go to Quolek. Anything else, I'm just going to run. And especially when you bring in Ensing, because that ball that he runs is way different than Butrin's. Butrin's wants that more a little bit outside. It wants it higher so you can really bang into that ball. Whereas Ensing likes a little bit of a lower inside ball with a little bit faster, a little bit loopier. I think Tavares really was gelling with that offense quite well, and then he's still able to work with his middles. I know he only gave Bieniek two attempts in the finals, but yeah, I think it was just really came down to their execution and them just digging deep as a team.
They dug really deep, man. They needed everything that they had, and I mean, how ironic is it, Everett, that we've been talking about all season that Warszawa's biggest strength is their depth. They've got 2 opposites. They've got 3 left sides. They've got 3 middles. And whose depth comes out of the clouds to beat them in a 5th set to end their season? It's Zawiercie. It was insane. And for the second match in a row, an overtime situation in set 5, 1-on-1 block by Yuri Glotter against the middle. The exact same way that match number 2 ended. It was absolutely insane. Man, I don't know how many match points Zawiercie fought off, but one of them, they had side out. Kyle Ensing had the balls to see a wide open line and roll a ball to a wide open spot on the court, like 8 feet off the net that nobody was close to. Like literally an unconscious performance by Kyle Ensing. Wasn't even thinking out there, was just out there making plays. He was tremendous.
So I won't lie, I kind of fell asleep a little bit during the 5th set.
Oh, no.
I don't know what got into me, but I fell asleep when Warszawa was like up 3, and I was like, "This is done." Like
also, Piacenza's up 33-32 on Perugia in the first right now.
Oh, it's 33. It's 32-32 now. Right? Oh, you see 33-32.
I see it on Flash Score. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't have the match on in the background.
I do, but I can only see like a quarter of it. Mm-hmm. And I literally, I woke up to Zawiercie cheering, and I was watching, and it's always a weird feeling when you know the result and you watch a back and forth game, because like there'd be times like, how are they going to get out of them? Like, how do they end up winning this? Like,
it made no sense that they came back to win that game. Like,
no sense.
Shout out Quantum in the chat just now. Warszawa was up 10-8 in the 5th in match number 2. They were up 10-7 in the 5th in match number 3 and lost both of them. Like that scoreline, Warszawa built those advantages, and the guys that Zawiercie had on the court, I just couldn't see a way that they could come back and win those sets, and they won both of them. It was really incredible. And on the Warszawa side, I really felt the heartbreak in them losing that game. I mean, Andre Verona is going to retire after this season. He was the one who got blocked to lose the series, and he called it the most devastating loss of his career. And this is a guy. This is
terrible.
I know. This is a guy who's been awesome. He's been awesome for the game. He's so like media forward, and it is amazing at like talking and sharing his stories and promoting volleyball. And he's been a great player. And like to hear him say that really hurt. And like all the guys on social media and on the interviews were just really heartbroken, because I think they know that the only people to blame for losing this series is themselves. They had Zawiercie on the ropes in both matches 2 and 3. They had seen their Zawiercie's best players go off for injury or for whatever other reasons, and they just couldn't get it done. And Kevin Tilley needs to be looked at in this series because he was horrendous. I think the decision to start Linus Weber in matches 2 and 3 versus bring him off the bench is one that may need to be looked at. Archer
I disagree. I think Weber was actually one of their, like, dude, he had 31 in this.
I know.
That's what, like, I think you need to start him.
He did everything he could. Like it was but it was so against who Warszawa is. Even though he put up that great performance, like that is not who that team is.
I don't know. I completely disagree. They
do not give opposites 48 attempts like that. That's not their play style.
But they had to, because no one else was going.
Tilly was bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't give him, like, that wasn't the decision. That wasn't the game plan going in. But when you have your outsides combining for, like, what? Like, you've got 3 of them for combining for under 30 points, right? Like, 3 of the outsides couldn't put up the same numbers that Linus Weber was. I completely disagree with that.
21 kills total for the left sides. I mean, they were bad. All 3 of them were pretty bad.
And he had 27. So yeah, like, it was bad management a little bit, but what could you do when your other studs are out there, like, with terrible efficiency? Brand was 22% efficiency. Kevin Tilly had minus efficiency. Same thing with Schalpuk, under 25%. So
Tilly was bad the whole series, and it kind of goes along with the Tony Uti conversation. Those French dudes of that generation who we revere for their achievements, like in a way, the discussions are what
bench.
Yeah, but like Tony Uti is a bench player for the national team now, but like those guys are going to command big contracts on great clubs. It is still like a "what have you done for me lately" sort of industry. Like those guys got to play better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so too. I think the course of Tilly's season was pretty good, but he was just really bad in the playoffs. I do kind of wonder what kind of injuries were there, but I'm definitely going to push back on your questioning Weber being the starter. I think that was one of the best decisions that they made. Like, he was their guy throughout most of it, and I honestly, in watching this series and in watching Warszawa this year, I'm really interested to see what happens with the German national team because of him, Tobias Brand and like the rest of the guys have. I'm way higher on Weber and his prospects as an international opposite after, this series than I was before.
Completely agree. He's, I think, really salvaged his international reputation this season. And he's done it a lot of the time coming off the bench ice cold, which is damn hard to do. There's been a huge spark for that team, but like,
yes and no as well too. Like, he has gotten starts this year, and like that's why
occasionally
I think they were comfortable going with him. And like, if you look at the Discord too, with like the people who really watch PlusLiga, it seemed like a lot of them were in agreement that Weber was better than Bolange.
The other thing that Warszawa is really good at and did well the whole series is blocking. They had 16 blocks in match number 3, and they kind of countered Zawiercie's serving power with their own blocking power, and especially once Zawiercie had to get rid of some of their good high ball scorers, the Warszawa block really came into play. But that team is going to be having nightmares of being up 10-7 in that 5th set, and against
10-7 with Patrick Vaba and Kyle
Ensing, and at home and not getting that one done. It just insane drama. And now Warszawa will play JSW for 3rd, which is important because it decides a Champions League berth and the final. Zawiercie, the 3 seed, and Lublin, the 4 seed, will play for the PlusLiga title. Match number 1 is tomorrow,
12 p.m. Eastern time.
That's right.
6 p.m. Europe time. Yeah, I will do a watch along for tomorrow.
Oh, very nice. Cool.
And Thursday's match, actually.
Nice. I'll be moving around for my dumb work business over here in Virginia, so I'm glad you get to lock down the community and bring them all into one place. That is cool. If you're not watching the PlusLiga by now, my goodness, are you missing out? Congratulations are in order, Everett, to Ziraat Bank Ankara. Congratulations to Ziraat Bank Ankara. Just today, maybe an hour ago, they wrapped up the championship in the Efeler Ligi. They swept Galatasaray in the title series 3-0, 3-1, then 3-0 today. It ended on a Matt Anderson ace today in the 3rd set, very fittingly. This is an amazing season for this club. They were just fantastic. They won the CEV Cup in a gauntlet. They beat Trentino and Resovia in doing so. They win their domestic league, which is getting deeper than ever. Murat Yenipazar was named the MVP of the final, and honestly, I think he's got a pretty good case. I really liked what I saw from him setting in big moments down the stretch of the season. Matt Anderson obviously had one of the best seasons of his career at age 37 or 38 or whatever he is.
I'm sorry. You're going to sit here and tell me that Yenny Pazar deserved MVP after what we just saw from Matt Anderson?
He had an MVP
are
case.
you well? Are you well?
It is.
You
already know that if that decision were up to me, it's not even a conversation that Matt Anderson.
Don't be fucking like diplomatic about this. Tell us how you fucking really feel.
When you have a left side who carries you offensively and is as efficient as Matt Anderson has been the entire stretch and in this match and in this series for Ziraat Bank, you give him the MVP. That's what you do. I understand that Ziraat Bank as a team had just sky high efficiency. I mean, it looked like 58% efficiency today as a team. That is amazing. Matt Anderson is the reason why you won this tournament, why you won this playoffs, and that deserves MVP to me. I mean, match number 2, 4-set match, 25 points, 20 for 36 attacking with 1 error, 53% efficiency, 2 blocks, 3 aces. Like, the dude is playing some of the best volleyball of his life at age 38. That alone, like the production and the fact that he's doing it at that age, deserves MVP to me. 23 points today in a 3-set match.
Today he was outstanding. I mean, in set number 1, he had 9 points. He was 6 for 6 attacking with 3 aces. I mean, when you look at the set or match 1 number stats, he was 9 for 19 with a 26% efficiency, only 11 points, whereas Termat had 15. But today was another outstanding performance there by Matt Anderson. He is looking almost better than ever. Like,
it really looks great.
It is almost scary how good he looks, and you could make that argument. It's like, oh, he's doing in the Turkish league. But look what he did with the cup, right? Look what he did with the CEV Cup. It was the same thing. I do think, however, though, Rob, that the Efeler League is going to be much more on my radar next year
for sure.
Like, these teams are loading up. Like, the four top teams with the Hawkbanks and Hawkbank, that's another fucking story altogether. Fuck. Like Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, and Ziraat Bank. Like, there's going to be some interesting things happening. Is there anything else you want to mention about this?
Just that, I mean, I understand that the whole team today was really good. I mean, Kleveno went 13 for 16 with no errors. That's crazy. Bananas. It's amazing. Termont 11 for 17, 1 error. Amazing. Like, the team hit 58% efficiency. That's absurd. But when Matt Anderson plays that well the entirety of the playoffs, you give him the goddamn MVP. Still, great season. Great season for Ziraat Bank. Congratulations to Mustafa Kavaz, the whole coaching staff. Really well done. I am excited to see them back in Champions League next year where they belong. Yeah,
me too. I'm a little scared of Turkey this year in the VNL, though. I will fully say that. That's going to be an interesting roster. If only they had the coach. Now, Rob, we've just talked about the 3 best leagues in the world right now. Are they the 3 best leagues in the world right now?
Probably.
The ones that we cover.
Yeah.
Russia's obviously in there.
Yeah.
But to me, there's 3 performances right now that are up top, right? There's 3 players who are playing the best volleyball in their respective leagues at this moment. So I want you to tell me who you would pick right this moment to be your guy between these 3 players. From Italy, we have Alessandro Michieletto. He has been doing crazy things. He has basically been the team from Italy. My earlier question is, I wanted to ask you, actually, we won't discuss this now, but think about it. Would you pick Botolo over Lavia as the P2 for Italy? Think about that.
Ask me again at the end of the Scudetto final. I think that's Scudetto final when they play head to head.
Hold that in your pocket. But right now, right this moment, would you want to lead your team Alessandro Michieletto? Would you want Wilfredo Leon? Or would you want Matt Anderson? You can only have one. You can only have one of those guys.
Wow.
Who do you want right now? Because those 3 to me right now, just from the eye test, from the numbers that they're putting up, they're playing the best ball right now in the world right this moment.
I think they are. Those are the 3 guys. Man, am I trying to win a tournament this calendar year? Am I trying to build for several years?
No. Right now.
Right now. Second?
Right now, to win Champions League, to win their respective leagues. These are also 3 players who are Matt Anderson has won his league, so like he's still in contention technically, but like these are also players who are still playing in the finals. Who do you pick?
Oh man. You're going to accuse me for being a homer, but I might pick Matt Anderson.
I knew you were going to pick Matt Anderson.
I really might. And here's why. So Michieletto is the best player on the planet. He has ability that truly nobody else has. Wilfredo Leon is one of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all time. He is the guy. He has that ability. He's still, if not the best server on the planet, one of them. But what I like about Matt Anderson is that he does everything at such an incredible level, and no matter who you put around him, he elevates them. He also does that without like a certain amount of demand. He doesn't need every ball after point 20. He doesn't need every ball in the fifth set. He will take care of those balls if you give them to him, because he's playing at another level of efficiency right now. But any random situation that you plug Matt Anderson into right now, he will succeed, and everybody around him will succeed. I think Leon will contribute, Michieletto will contribute, because they're both so unbelievable. But I think you might get the most out of a team with Matt Anderson on it right now. Also, Anderson just beat Michieletto head-to-head, so I'm taking him.
Okay. I'm going with Leon because I think we just talked about, right, the reality is Matt Anderson has a better team around him than Leon does.
That's true. Also, he plays in a lesser league, and Leon has done more with less. That's true.
Yeah, he has done more with less, and I think Leon has been a champion before. He knows how to be a champion. As you said, he's one of the best players of all time.
Remind me whom was he sharing the reception line in all those Zenit Kazan championships?
Yeah, but no, it doesn't matter. No, we're talking about right now. We're talking about right now. Right now, right in this moment. So that doesn't matter at all in the slightest. I think that this year is one of the most impactful. Well, we're going to see how it finishes, but I think that this season is one of the most impactful seasons for his legacy.
Anderson's or Leon's?
No, Leon.
I completely agree.
I think his ability to reestablish himself as elite, as a dominant performance, and as the ability to win is one of the most solidifying factors of his legitimacy. I can almost put it to akin. If something happens in the next few weeks, and something happens in the next couple of weeks, you could almost put it akin to LeBron going to the Lakers and then winning a championship with the Lakers like he did.
There are similarities to that. I mean, the way that Leon, the way his Perugia career ended with, like, he won, but he won in a bench and serving sub role, like that we thought that we would never see a club season like this from Wilfredo Leon ever again. Like the longevity and the sustainability that he played with this year, I think is the best part. If you are like making Leon's legacy case, because he actually played every match of the season. He was the guy. His body handled that load, which I don't think anybody expected that to be possible with all of the issues that his body has had the last like Olympic cycle and change. And he brought a team of, like you said, like afterthoughts to the PlusLiga final in the franchise's fourth year of playing at that level. It is incredible what he
showed up to the potluck late, and all of the best dishes were picked over, right? There was no crunchy pieces of lasagna left. All the nice sandwiches were gone. He got like the crudité and like the fucking hummus and dip.
And he received a Michelin star with those ingredients. Yeah.
So I think, like, fuck, if something interesting can happen, and like I didn't think that they had a chance. There was a part of me that didn't think they had a chance to get by Zaksa, right? There was a part of me that was like, I don't know if they can get by like and hell, if Kurek hadn't gotten injured, do we see Zaksa in the finals right now?
Who knows?
But I just think that right now, in terms of legacy, like Leon is reestablishing himself as like, don't forget about me, motherfuckers. I'm still the fucking best. Fuck you, Gino Cerci.
I love it. That's a good discussion. I'm really glad that you brought that up. The Lavia versus Botolo thing, I think we'll have to discuss when the Scudetto final is over, and depending on
I already know where I stand.
I know where I stand as well, and I'm right there with you on the season that Botolo's had. We got more to get to. First, Daddy.
Papa.
Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in this show, as he always is, as a part of the Where's Daddy segment. You take part in the Where's Daddy segment by finding Daddy Stankovic and commenting the timestamp of where he shows up in the main YouTube comment section after the stream is over, because Daddy is a legend. He is our hero, and we love him very much. Last year, we were talking about Malonza, the women who just could not even put up any kind of a fight against Conegliano and are probably going to get donged again in Champions League this weekend, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you see there over the shoulder of Stefano Lavarini supporting Malonza and their attempt to figure it out. There is Daddy Stankovic. JOX30Y in the comments said, Daddy in turmoil with Malonza. He was in turmoil. You got that right. Manuel Infante says, Daddy is in the video. I was finally able to see him. Ha ha ha. Anthony Lee says, Malonza definitely needs Daddy to play to end their losing streak against Sumoco. All of you are correct about all those things. So good work finding Daddy. He's hidden somewhere again in this show. Make sure you keep an eye out for where he is. Do not put it in the live chat when you find him. Wait till the stream is over and put it in the main comment section underneath. Staying in Turkey, Everett, we have one more thing left in women's volleyball this entire season, and it is the Champions League Final Four, the new format this year. 4 teams going to Istanbul this weekend, single elimination, both semifinals Saturday. Malonza versus Conegliano. I think we all know how that one's going to go. Vakif Bank versus Scandicci is the other one that I think is really interesting. They're playing a third place match on Sunday. Why? I have no idea. But then the final on Sunday, what time is that Eastern?
No,
Noon?
that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind a third place match. They've usually always played a third place match, actually.
Back when it was the Final Four format, like before they went to the Super Finals thing, yeah, they used to do that. But
especially when you're going to do it in ticket packages where it's like 2 matches, like that's
fair enough. It'll be a good little appetizer, get somebody up to celebrate on the podium for a bronze. But I agree, Mr. Lamb in the chat. I like the Final Four format a lot. We don't need to talk about the Conegliano Malonza match. We've talked about that series and that matchup. We all know how that's going to go. Everett, what to you is the ceiling of this Vakif Bank Istanbul team?
Bro, I don't fucking know right now. I really don't know. You're going to
won
tell me
domestically. They're playing
and now
at
they
home.
don't have foreigner limits.
Don't have foreigner limits.
Now you don't have to question whether you want Bossetti or you want
Yuan
Jinwei. You can have both. The Welch's girl. Let's go.
The issue, though, is that Scandicci, the thing that has held them back all season in Italy, has been that very thing, the foreigner limit.
Yeah, but
they've been throwing out Camila Mengardi on the left side, and they don't have to do that anymore. They can play all the middles. They can play the foreign libero. They can play foreign left sides. They can do whatever they want now.
Who are they going to put out there? Like Herbots, who's been real fucking average this year? I don't even know who their other left side is.
Herbots and then like 2 Americans, Lindsay Ruddins and Cara Bajama.
Oh. Yeah, you're telling me that they're going to be better than Bossetti and Markova? Fuck off.
No, definitely not. They're going to be better at reception than Mengardi is. I think that's the key.
100%. But I just don't like any way you cut this cake, Rob. I'm giving the slice to Vakif Bank. You know that cake is black and gold on the inside. I don't even know what the colors for Scandicci are. The baker won't even know. Because there's. I'm sorry.
I agree with you.
You're telling me that Scandicci, who was done not weeks ago, but I can't remember when they've been
off for a long time.
They have been off for a long time. And you're talking about a 1-game scenario in Istanbul against Vakif Bank.
I agree with you.
If I played for Scandicci, I might just leave. I might go join my national team, get ready for VNL.
Somebody in the chat or in our comments from last week when we were talking about Vakif Bank winning the Sultanlar Ligi, we were comparing Markova and Van Rijk and their unbelievable numbers in that final. We were comparing them to the quote unquote golden trio of Fenerbahce, those 3 wings. And somebody in our comments had the idea to call Markova and Van Rijk the Diamond Duo. Which I really like.
I love me some double Ds.
Don't you ever? You don't find very many of those in volleyball now, do you?
No, I'm no. If you actually knew me, double Ds are not my thing.
The Diamond Duo, Markova and Van Rijk. Yeah, I mean, you can put Bossetti there and just to pass and set her 3 balls the entire match. It doesn't matter. Vakif Bank has some kind of magic this season, and I really want to see Corneliano versus Vakif Bank in that final.
That game is one of the few games that would actually intrigue me for a Corneliano match.
Same.
That game, I think, because of like, so what, you're gonna have one like a little bit of film on Vakif Bank from their Champions League matches, but you're really only gonna have like not even, is it 24 hours? Is it the next day?
It's the next day.
So you're not gonna have 24 hours to get ready for a Vakif Bank team who you haven't really seen play all of that much, in a configuration that you haven't really seen play all that much. And this Vakif Bank team fucking believes right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They fucking believe, right? And you bet your ass that no one on this entire planet would love to hand Corneliano a loss in the Champions League finals than Guidetti and Vakif Bank. Like, that is the perfect scenario. And if there's one coach who I think has the balls and the cojones to go up against Santarelli in that situation, it is Guidetti.
I definitely think that the situation plays here. It's one match only. It is
in Istanbul.
In Istanbul, 24 hours after the semifinal. The ability to prepare is limited. The ability to react and adjust mid-game is even more limited. I think those are slight advantages to Vakif Bank for sure.
And you're going to be in a hostile environment.
Without question. But Corneliano is Corneliano, and I'm picking him still.
As Orkun says in the chat, there's one, like, everything for me flows through, like, Corneliano, the way everything is right now, everything flows through Gabi. If there's one team in the world who knows how to be able to get to Gabi, it's going to be Vakif.
I don't know if it's even about getting to Gabi. Gabi was the only player with a pulse on Vakif Bank since Egonu, or even last year. Last year they were so bad.
But this is what I'm saying, right? Like, Guidetti gonna be playing some mind games
for sure.
Right? Like, he knows where she passes the worst. All of those things.
Which is nowhere. I trust Gabi in this situation so much. I trust Asha.
I'm just saying that there's way more. There's way more on the line here, and there's so many emotional.
There's a lot on the line. There are a lot of layers, emotional layers, volleyball layers. Of course,
we need to get there first. Who knows? Maybe Malonza pulls a University of Western Ontario and maybe not maybe
not maybe
all of Emiko's wings played for Guidetti before. Holy shit!
Yeah, that's true. Right? Yeah, Gabi, Hawk, Zhu all played for Vakif Bank at some point in the past. It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited to watch this weekend, Saturday and Sunday on CEV's YouTube channel behind a paywall, I assume, and Eurovolley TV or whoever your domestic carrier is. We will be actively watching it for sure.
For sure,
right.
But
one more thing to talk about before we turn our attention to my country over here. It's the SV League. We got another favorite or one seed gets beat in the semifinals. Congratulations to the JTEKT Stings for taking down Osaka Blue Dion 2-0 in that semifinal over the weekend. I actually watched match number 2 because it was on late night and I was awake. And JTEKT played awesome. Osaka ran out of gas a little bit. Miguel Lopez wasn't great. Yuji Nishida wasn't great. And it's really bad luck for Osaka because they were the best team all year long. And JTEKT probably was better than a 4 seed, but they had so many injuries and they dropped down there and they had to play them in the semifinals. And JTEKT with a healthy Lucarelli, DeFalco, Miura, Sakita, all those guys are playing awesome right now, and they're going to the final.
Are you talking about the second game?
What, match number 2?
Yeah, you're saying Lopez wasn't great? He was 22 for 36.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Let me find my stats.
We had 22 for 36 with no errors. Or sorry, with 1 error. I apologize. And he had 3 blocks on top of that. Nishida, on the other hand, was 19 for 35, but we had 6 errors through that. Jishki, not so great. You could tell that he's kind of been still battling his rehab. 10
for sure.
10 for 29 attacking, and he just wasn't serving, nor I don't think his reception numbers were what
Yeah,
they were.
4 aces. His offense wasn't very good. I just thought that JTEKT outplayed him. I mean, Falco late was really awesome. I mean, he had 24 for 42. He was playing a little bit of both positions. He was hitting some right side balls. He hit like a blind windmill over his shoulder in set 5. That was sick. That was all over the internet.
The reality is that if you're going to ask me what were the 2 best teams in Japan, I would say these 2 teams. Losing Miura for the amount of time that they did really, really hurt them. But yeah, like with this roster, with Miura, with the way he was playing, TJ, the way he's played all year. I mean, I think if it wasn't for Namir being the absolute monster that he was, I think TJ is definitely in the MVP race factor. Like, this is a really good team. Not to mention you have Sakita. Like, when it comes down to it, Sakita versus Iroh.
That was a big thing. That was clearly a difference, especially in the 5th set with their backs against the wall. Yeah, Sakita's the dude. Substantially better decision maker and locator of the ball in the clutch. And it is kind of a shame that this was a semifinal. I think this would have been a very worthy final. And I hate that they played 2 matches on back-to-back nights. I really just can't stand that format. It's not good for the product. It's not good for the athletes, whatever.
But it's the product that they're used to.
It's right? How they do it. I know it's how they do it.
So
whatever they want to do.
You know what's happening when you go over there.
You do. You play 44 regular season games. And,
somebody in the chat earlier mentioned talk about what happened between Suntory and Wolf Dogs. Do you know anything about this?
I don't. I was hoping to get info from the chat about this. So Suntory Sunbirds beat the Nagoya Wolf Dogs 2-1 in that semifinal series. Nagoya won a miracle 5-set banger in match 1, and then Suntory kind of controlled it from then on out. So it'll be Suntory against JTEKT in the final. It should be a pretty good final. Schlifka looks like he's healthy, whatever. I do not know what. 2 red cards. 2 red cards in Japan? They're giving out red cards in Japan? That's pretty rare. It must be like the foreigners getting real spicy. Looks like Mazurski had 27 points. Ran 18 points. Schlifka only 11 points this is in match number 3, which is a 4-setter. Namir 33 points. My goodness. 2 red cards in the 4-set. I do not know what happened here. I didn't see the clip. I wasn't watching the game. So if there was any crazy drama, I'm sorry that I don't have all the details.
No, me neither. This is where you guys need to come into us. I think I will. Oh yeah, no, they're just chirping me because Mars playing like shit right now. The Discord chirping me. Seriously, whenever I look over, it looks like Mars getting served off the court. Like every single time I've looked over, it's like Mars getting aced or he's passing a 1 ball.
Perugia's about to go up 2-0 in that match, by the way.
I think I kind of want to watch this final. We'll see if I can sneak it into the. To how it's going, but I'm very interested in watching the Japanese league, how it grows over the next little bit.
Well, they're starting to put out some signings. I mean, they Brizard's going over there. Jan Kozamarinik is going over there, so that they must be expanding their foreigner situation if they can bring in a setter and a middle, which is crazy. Yeah, Matt Anderson is going there.
Anton Huber is going over there.
Brahma, I didn't know that.
Sorry, Norbert Huber.
Or Norbert Huber's going there.
Yeah, I said Anton Huber.
That's such a weird move for Huber. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's a really weird move for Brizard as well too.
Yeah,
because Brizard is a really good setter, but he's not a really great setter. And to be able to live in the offenses of Japan,
locator of the ball setter,
he does everything else. He's a fantastic volleyball player
for sure,
and he's a really good court manager and manager of emotions of his guys on the court, and his physicality allows him to do things that a lot of other setters can't. Especially high up in the net, he really extends that passing zone with the way that he can dish one-handed. Think about how many balls that would be going over the net that he can cut off compared to Toniutti.
Right.
But his location isn't all that great, and his rhythm and his placement aren't fantastic either.
I think they're real good when he's with France, and they're much more fragile everywhere else. But we can talk about next season. Move next season. I don't care. It does look like though that the final series, like Suntory versus JTEKT, is not on back-to-back nights. It It looks like game 1 is this weekend, and then the following game is like next week, midweek. So maybe they're doing something different for the final. Whatever. I'll catch this when I can with the hours, and we'll be following along with it. I didn't catch all the red card drama. I hope that keeps up for the final, though, because that'll be fun.
Yeah, Slivka finally delivered. He's been shit all year.
He hasn't played. Man, remember that injury when he was so angry that he slammed his hand in the net, broke a finger, and hasn't been the same for like 18 months?
It's wild. It is wild.
All right. It's time, Everett, to focus our attention into the United States. I would like to give the appetizer of the PVF because there's one more week left in the regular season, but the playoffs are set as far as I know, right? I think we're locked in with these top 4.
Yeah, we're locked in with these top 4, and realistically not that surprised. Like, these are the top 4 teams most of the year. Vegas had a really good run early on and then just like have gone like what 2-13 since then or something like that. It's been fucking atrocious. It's been really bad. Like I really think they were 8-3 at one point, and at the top they went from 8-3 to 10-16, which is absolutely wild.
It's bad.
I think it's going to be really interesting, especially because this is when I look at the playoff matchups here, I think this is a toss-up. I really do. That semifinal matchup between Indy and Omaha is going to be gangbusters. Like, I think it's going to be really fucking awesome, especially if Indy can get LMM back in time and healthy and going. You know, like, they have, like, you're looking at one of the best offensive teams, if not the best offensive team in the PVF against one of the better, like let's not make errors. Let's play steady and like consistent volleyball, right? Like, Omaha wants to force you to make errors by just keeping the ball alive. They have the least amount of aces in the league just because they serve so conservatively, which I think is a bit of a Nebraska thing, because I know the Cornhuskers do the same thing too. Like, there's 3 teams in women's volleyball that I've noticed that have crazy low amount of serving aces and crazy low amount of serving errors, and it's Nebraska, Omaha, and Corneliano. So I think there's something to that when you're looking at some of these teams that are just like averaging like 0.6 aces per match and just not making the errors. So I think you have an Indy team that, like, with Lekator, remember Mene, with what's her name? Azani Teeler, Nina Kaiich. Yeah, Kaiich has been in and out of the lineup like a little bit awesome, and they brought in that girl from Stanford. Was it Baird something? Megan Baird, is that it?
Sounds right.
Yeah. So I think that this Indy team, if anyone has the ability to upset Omaha, which would be the exact same thing as we saw last year, I think it would be this Indy team. And then on the other side, you have 2 teams who serve really tough and have really good offenses in Atlanta and Omaha. I know, or Orlando, sorry. That Southeast battle, right?
Yep.
That the Southeast battle down there is going to be really, really interesting. Like, the 2 best scorers in the league too, and Brittany Abercrombie for Orlando and Leah Edmond for Atlanta. I think Natalie Foster and her serving, she's been the best server all year. Like, her and Leah Edmond, one from Orlando, one from Atlanta. Like, I think that this is going to be another really good series too, or match, right?
Yeah, single match, I think. So there's one more week of the regular season. It's this weekend, but it will not have any consequence on the playoff standings. So we will talk more about the PVF playoffs probably next week's show as we preview it, or the following week after the finals are over. But this, like, the PVF and Champions League are the only women's volleyball left in the club season. So I definitely won't be watching any this weekend, but I will absolutely watch the playoffs. So that'll be fun.
For sure.
What else is going on in the United States is we have a bracket.
We have
a bracket for the men's and the
men's.
Start tonight? It starts on Sunday. So we've got a bracket for the men's NCAA tournament. There is a play-in game on Sunday that will be Penn State going to Western New York to take on Damon in Damon's home gym. Damon won the Northeast Conference and got an auto bid for the first time. Then after that, the remaining 8 teams go to Columbus, and they'll play next week Thursday, all the quarterfinals, next week Saturday, the semifinals, and then so 2 weeks from yesterday, that Monday, a couple Mondays from now, will be the national championship game. The drama here was in the conference tournaments. The big one was that Pepperdine at home out of nowhere stole an auto bid by winning the MPSF tournament. They beat UCLA in 5 in the semifinal, and then they beat USC in 4 in the final, both up in Malibu, to steal a bid. So that made the whole at-large conversation for whatever 2 teams who didn't win their conference tournaments would get in. That made that all the much more interesting, because it's like Pepperdine would not have been in if they hadn't won their conference tournament. So
No.
They really stole that bid. The other drama was Hawaii beating Long Beach in Oahu again in the stand. That was an awesome match. I was up till like 2:30 in the morning watching it on Saturday night. We were watching it in the Discord. Hawaii beat Long Beach in 4. Great volleyball.
And they won the Big West?
Hawaii won the Big West tournament. Long Beach got the at-large bid and still the number one overall seed, which I completely agree with. That was not surprising. Then it came down to UCLA, USC, and UC Irvine for that last spot. And the committee decided that UCLA was the most deserving. Irvine, I think I feel more bad for Irvine than I do for USC. Irvine got punished for having an extremely difficult schedule. They played a really, really hard schedule. But what really killed them was their complete inability to play in Hawaii. They got beat 3 times by Hawaii in Hawaii, and none of them were competitive. One was the Big West tournament semifinal.
Yeah.
USC, I feel less bad for because they had the golden opportunity. Pepperdine took care of UCLA for them in the MPSF tournament, and all USC had to do with all their guys available was beat Pepperdine, and they couldn't. So that sucks because I like that team, but it's hard.
Maybe coaching.
It's hard to feel bad for them when they had that opportunity and they couldn't take advantage of it. And Pepperdine 100% deserves to be there. Like, they played amazing volleyball in the MPSF tournament. Shout out to Luke Reynolds, Will Kraft, Jonathan Winder was named MPSF Coach of the Year today. Very well deserved. Like, they totally deserve to be there. But there are a couple of conversations that need, also shout out to Loyola. They won the MIVA, and Loyola Pep is going to be a good game because Loyola beat Pep in 5 in Malibu earlier this year. So that'll be the only competitive quarterfinal.
Can we have a real conversation real quick?
A couple real conversations that we need to have.
Okay, but this one is like just a little superficial one before we get into the deep ones.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jeff Nygaard's time up at USC? Like, what has he produced?
Nothing. However, this team, this is the best USC team in a decade,
and they still fucked it up.
They had a golden opportunity and they blew it, and that
So
sucks
you have like, it should be a no fucking brainer to be able to recruit to USC. I'm sorry. You should be one of the best recruiting schools in the fucking country. How are you not? How is USC an irrelevant volleyball school?
So they have been. This year they were very relevant, and they graduate no one. So I expect USC could be preseason.
It's not they have been. They are. Right? But they still couldn't make the tournament.
Making the tournament is not, I don't think, is a fair measure of success necessarily, because the tournament is such bullshit. And that's the thing. Like, next year, USC could be preseason number 1 in the country. I expect them to be really good. I think firing Jeff Nygaard would be a huge mistake. I completely don't advocate for that in any way. I think they're going to be really good next year. This tournament is so Mickey Mouse in a year when NCAA men's volleyball has been at its best and at its most compelling. Like, it has been wide open. It
has the most views on it too. The most
far and away the most views it has ever had. This tournament is the worst possible representation of how good and how deep and how compelling NCAA men's volleyball actually is. It's so bad. What we need to do here is the solution is clear. There's 9 teams in right now. 9 is a stupid number. Expand it to 12. Okay. You still have your 7 automatic qualifiers, 3 of which have actually, in this year, it's 4. Penn State is bad. If they lost to Damon on the road, I wouldn't be surprised. Belmont Abbey, no chance. Fort Valley State, no chance. Thanks for participating. That representation is important. They have no chance to compete for the tournament. So why would you take away spots from teams that can win a national championship? USC and UC Irvine both could win a national championship. Expand this bracket to 12. Keep your 7 auto bids. Give 5 at-large bids, and then one spot to the host. I think the fact that Ohio State is hosting this tournament and aren't playing it, I think that's dumb. We saw the power of home court advantage this entire week, and in Canada this year, with Brandon only making it because they were at home and winning the national championship. Like, I think that Ohio State should be in.
This is how the NCAA tournaments always work.
Yes, it's bad. So it's not.
But that's the NCAA. Here's my
format is new this year. This is a brand new format this year, and it sucks.
Yeah, but this format with the amount of teams, but you can't get upset that it's being played on a neutral site. That is every single NCAA championship.
No, so somebody hosts it. It's not a neutral site. It's one of the team that hosts it. It's just not guaranteed that team plays there. Long Beach played at home last year.
Yeah, but that's just because they opted to host and then won the bid to get there, right. But that's I don't understand why you're complaining about that, but that is literally the NCAA across every single sport, right? In no sport are you going to find a team who's hosting the finals or whatever getting a bid. So I'm a little confused.
Also in no NCAA tournament are you going to have 2 Division II teams get auto bids, and then the third best team in the country doesn't make the tournament.
So here's my next question though with this. I understand the frustration, but who is it up to deciding this? Where are those decisions made?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the constraints by the NCAA. I don't know the formulas, the rules, the finances. I don't know
the reality of it. And here's the reality of it. No one gives a fucking shit about
obviously.
No one gives a fucking shit about men's volleyball. So especially if you are the NCAA, I don't know who fits the bill for the finals. I'm assuming it's going to be kind of it's going to be a mix of the NCAA and the host school. If you are the NCAA, you're not going to foot the bill on your least supported sport. And then if you're the school, you're not going to want to go out and and this is for 3 more teams, expanding it from whatever 9 to 12, which I fully agree with you. So who within the committee was it from the AVCA or from men's volleyball is in charge of making sure that this is a good competition, as opposed to in charge of just making sure that there is a competition?
So putting teams in the event, there's a committee that does that. Structuring the event and putting on the event and formatting the event is up to the NCAA. Okay. And the thing is that this is the last year that a school will host this tournament. Next year, it's going to Las Vegas, a neutral site in Vegas, which I think is sick. But the NCAA is entirely on the hook for that event. There's not going to be a host situation. So
that could honestly if they promoted it decently,
which they won't do.
Which
and we know this. So we can talk more high level. I do want to preview the actual tournament a little bit. Long Beach will sleepwalk through Fort Valley State. UCLA will sleepwalk through Belmont Abbey. Hawaii will sleepwalk through the winner of Damon and Penn State. Loyola versus Pepperdine is going to be awesome. If there's one match to watch in the quarterfinal, it's that one.
Who's your pick for that?
Loyola.
Okay.
I think there's a big no. So here, I like Loyola. They're in Chicago. There is a massive conversation that needs to be had about home court advantage. People, the Hawaii fan base was up in arms that after they won the Big West tournament, they did not get the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Hawaii is a completely different team away from the islands. They came to the mainland less this year than they ever have before, and when they did, they got donged by Northridge and donged by Santa Barbara. So you send them to Ohio, and they are a completely different team.
Altitude really gets them over there.
Pepperdine, the whole reason that they're even here is because of home court advantage. They rode a home crowd to playing incredible volleyball, and they upset 2 good teams and won the MPSF tournament. They will not have that same magic in Ohio next weekend. Although, Ryan Barnett and Cole Hartke were amazing for Pepperdine last weekend. But do I believe in that transporting across the country to Ohio? No. I think the 2 teams that are most ready to actually compete in this tournament are Long Beach State and UCLA. It's the 2 at-large bids who have been here before, who don't depend, like who their entire level of success doesn't depend on playing at home. So my pick is Long Beach and Hawaii, or sorry, Long Beach and UCLA to go to the final. I think Hawaii loses to UCLA in the semis. And I think that will shut up a lot of Hawaii fans. And like, you got to understand the power of the Stan Sheriff Center. It's so good. I've been there. I agree with them being able to host so many games because they actually support men's volleyball. They really do support it. And I love them for that. But like competitive balance wise, you cannot argue that they haven't gotten a massive advantage from playing at home this year.
No, I think especially in a neutral site, you're right. I think USC is far too talented to fuck around with Hawaii. And I think it's also going to be a USC versus Long Beach final. And I have
UCLA, you mean, but you're right.
One of them friggin' California state schools. Who the hell cares?
USC is private, for the record.
Is it?
Yes. All these matches are on ESPN Plus in the States, which is a bummer, up until the final, which is on ESPN2 on linear TV.
USC is private. Not
Southern
UCLA.
California is private.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
I do not hate Hawaii. We have a butthurt Hawaii fan in the chat. I do not hate Hawaii. I love that team. I love that volleyball culture. I love that arena. We have to be reasonable here. We have to be reasonable here on the advantage that they get from playing at home.
Yeah, for sure. Also, like you can't sit and tell me they're the best when they lose 0-2 to CSUN.
They got donged by CSUN and they got donged by Santa Barbara. When Long Beach goes on the road, they win. Long Beach is one of very few teams to win at Hawaii this year. That win weighs much more to me than Hawaii's 2 wins against Long Beach at home because of how powerful the Stan Sheriff Center is. Yeah.
Also just jet lag.
That too.
Like this year when I went to Qatar was one of the first times that I really had to deal with like jet lag. Like I feel like European jet lag is manageable. But then when I like went from the 6 hours difference to like the 9 hours difference from Qatar, like I was fucked up for like it was just like hair in my eyes or something. It's weird. I was fucked up for like because I had just started getting used to being able to sleep in Qatar once I had needed to leave. So I was like fucked up for a week once I got back from to Toronto too. So having to do that and then play a game to me is insane.
It's brutal. Insane. Also, Ohio, where like Columbus, Ohio, where this tournament is 6 hours ahead of Honolulu. That is a massive difference.
Yeah, huge.
Their home crowd travels. I expect the vibe to be good, but really Hawaii is a different beast. So there's a play-in game on Sunday. There are a lot of matches. I think it's next week, Thursday. So we can talk about this more on later shows. But it's just after such an amazing season in NCAA men's volleyball, it really has been awesome in so many ways. The eyeballs, like you said, it feels disappointing that this is the way that we have to cap it off with this poorly formatted tournament and these first round matchups that are going to be blowouts and with worthwhile teams not making it in. And it just speaks to where NCAA men's volleyball is. And that is an afterthought that is not supported and that is not valued by its very own governing body, the NCAA. And now we got to have another conversation. So this news came out yesterday. I promise I have a lot to say here. I promise I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to stay on topic. It came out yesterday that Grand Canyon University and a good MPSF men's volleyball program in Phoenix came out yesterday that they're cutting their men's volleyball program. So I'm going to read for you the announcement from their university's athletic department that came out yesterday, like Monday, April 28th.
This breaks my heart.
Grand Canyon University announced the discontinuation of its varsity men's volleyball program after 17 years following the end of the team's season last week. Men's volleyball will continue to be offered as a club sport at GCU. In a rapidly evolving college athletics landscape, GCU is constantly evaluating how it can best position itself as a Division I athletic department and a university. The move will allow GCU to focus on supporting its remaining 20 athletic programs at the highest levels in their respective conferences. Men's volleyball is currently sponsored by 27 of more than 360 Division I institutions and no current members of the Mountain West Conference, which is where GCU plays their other sports. GCU is committed to providing support services to its impacted student athletes. Those wishing to finish their academic careers at GCU will be able to do so at their existing athletic scholarship levels. The university also offers one of the nation's most robust club sports programs that includes men's volleyball. Those wishing to transfer to other institutions will receive assistance and support in doing so. First and foremost, I want to apologize to several people. First is Matt Worley. I want to apologize to Matt Worley. He was the National Coach of the Year last year for GCU. He helped build up this program to where last year they received the #1 ranking in the country for a brief period of time. They went to the national semifinal. They were a 5th set away from going to the national final. And then Matt Worley this season, mid-season, left that program to go take the assistant coach job for the Kansas women. And I was hard on that situation at the time. Obviously, he is making a lot more money at Kansas. He got out at the exact right time.
He must have known.
I do not think that he knew.
I think how did he not know?
So if Matt Worley had known that this program was about to get killed, then he wouldn't have just left. Everybody, every incoming recruit, every current player, every current coach, like everybody would have known. If Matt Worley even had a clue that the program was about to be axed by the athletic department, he would have morally, and I know that he would have done this, he would have prepared the people that would have been affected such that they wouldn't have found out yesterday. Everybody found out yesterday. There was an optional meeting between the current GCU athletes and the athletic department yesterday to announce this. There was no publication or information to the incoming committed recruits that were signed to play for GCU next year. It is basically May. They were starting school in August. Those kids now have to find a new university to go to. Nobody knew about this until yesterday, including Matt Worley. It just happened that the university supported Matt Worley and his program so poorly that he had no choice but to leave in the middle of the season. And I am happy for him because he's a great coach that he has found an outstanding opportunity and he didn't get caught up in this utter disaster. So to Matt Worley, for anything that I said when he left, I apologize to him and I thank him for his support, and I'm happy for the opportunity that he got. I apologize to the current student athletes and coaches. You deserve better. You deserve better. You and this program at Grand Canyon have deserved better from the beginning. This program put this university on the map. Men's volleyball getting to #1 in the country for GCU last year, that is the only time, the only sport for which that will ever happen to Grand Canyon University. I don't care what sport it is. I don't care where that sport sits in the hierarchy of NCAA sports. Grand Canyon in any sport will never be as relevant again as their men's volleyball team was last year. And any functioning university that caught that level of lightning in a bottle, despite their lack of support of it, any functioning university would lean into that. They would do everything they could to maximize that greatness that you have, no matter how irrelevant the sport or the program. Any functioning university should lean into that as hard as possible. Make Grand Canyon men's volleyball a thing. Make it a thing that everybody in Arizona, everybody in Phoenix, everybody on campus knows about and goes to and supports because they have an actual chance to win a national championship. That will never happen again at that university. Never. There are a couple other details about this that are important. First of all, this is the only sport that Grand Canyon is cutting. When Stanford announced that they were cutting men's volleyball and back in like the pandemic times, and then the alumni were able to pull off a miracle and save it, that was one of several of Stanford's like million sports that they sponsor, one of several sports that went on the chopping block that the alumni were able to save. Men's volleyball is the only sport that Grand Canyon is eliminating right now. And it happens to be the one where they are the most nationally relevant.
It to me is clearly that like you can't get rid of any women's sports because then you're not Title IX compliant.
So now Grand Canyon has 11 women's sports and 9 men's sports. Before they eliminated men's volleyball, they had 11 women's sports and 10 men's sports.
Do they have football?
No.
Oh, okay.
So because that's
because it's like it doesn't come down to the amount of athletes, but the amount of scholarship opportunities, and like football always takes up so many. So that
which is why so many schools that have men's volleyball programs don't have football, like Loyola, like a lot of the East Coast. But the fact that they decided that the one program that they need to cut in order to save money, if that's the case, if that's why they're doing this, the one program they need to cut is their most successful, is crazy to me. The other thing that's important to know about Grand Canyon University is that they are a publicly traded for-profit business.
I know where you're going with this.
This is so like, I don't know of any other universities with like actual campuses and athletic departments and like real college experiences are for-profit publicly traded businesses. There are a handful of these that are like remote only, like online degrees, which GCU has a ton of online programs. But I don't know of anybody with like an actual real athletic department that's a publicly traded for-profit company. That I don't understand the dynamic of that and how that affects all this, but it affects it somehow. It also enables the public to go and do whatever you want with Grand Canyon stock.
Short that stock.
We are not financial advisors, but you have an ability to affect the bottom line of Grand Canyon University because they're publicly traded. So just put that on the record.
I think for me, Rob, and obviously it's a little bit different for me coming as a Canadian. Someone posted recently that like over 50% of youth sports schools support men's volleyball, and it's like 7% of NCAA schools support men's volleyball. So it is a bit of a different situation. But I do think that there's this weird dichotomy within this sport at the moment where if you're looking at like what First Point has been doing and the growth that we're seeing on the men's high school side, on the boys' high school side is actually pretty like tremendous. When you look at how First Point has been like the reason that we have essentially this DEI scenario in the NCAA tournament where these know-nothing D2 conferences are able to get spots is because of like the good work that First Point and the community at large is putting behind men's volleyball.
They've
but I think
created so many opportunities, like
opportunities.
High school, men's NAIA, men's NCAA Division III, NCAA Division II. So many opportunities have been created that things are moving along. Men's volleyball is the fastest growing sport in America, but at the Division I level,
nothing. And this is where I really think that. And now this is just going to be a nice little shout out to our good friend John Spera, that like I've seen him attacking things, like just recently, I think today, like the SAV announced that like April Ross is going to be joining the beach national team coaching program. Under what capacity, I don't know, but like you're bringing in a fucking gold medalist and one of the best players ever. Like they are making moves, and like you can see, like even in terms of like Matt Houlihan was complaining about babies on bench. He gets a call from John Spera, like, "Hey, we're gonna make this happen." Spera is making this happen. On the women's side, we're often seeing like an AVCA. What's the convention going on at the same time? Does the same thing happen with the men's? Is there an AVCA?
The AVC convention is once a year, and it's at the women's Final Four. So there's men's, there's beach, there's all sorts, there's First Point, there's all sorts of activity at that event, but it's in December.
So to me, this is a call out to the American fans to get behind this shit. Like, get behind your sport. Come together. There's so many people now out there with voices, and you can't say necessarily that like for a long time men's volleyball hasn't had a voice, and obviously our voice out there isn't as big, but we have people with voices. And if you have the ability to come together and start supporting these championships, like the best way to support this championship is pack the fucking shit out of OSU into each time.
Put your buttons.
Go to the matches, watch the streams, support the sport, support the game. And the reality is, and this is going to be a message directly to Americans, you guys are losing. Like in the overall volleyball world, you guys are losing. Your number one product, the reason that it is the best that it is because of internationals. I'm sorry to tell you, right? Every single one of these teams is because of international players are doing it. You need to start investing in yourselves, right? And I know that that's probably a message that's happening on a lot of levels for you guys right now, but specifically men's volleyball, invest in your own, support your own, go see it, go support it, watch it, talk about it, right? Like, it's so wild to me as like someone from the outside of the States to watch like the cognitive dissonance. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I really know, because if you're watching this show, like, you fucking care. But it's so crazy to watch, to like via Volley Talk or on Reddit or even within our own Discord or like anything on social media, and watch the Discord amongst American fans where you guys think that you guys are just so perfect and your shits don't stink. Like, your sport is falling apart. And it is your sport. You guys invented this sport, right? You guys invented this sport and you support it worse than Indonesia. Fuck, worse than Kenya. Like, Kenya has pro leagues. I'm sorry, like, this is the fucking reality. So now you guys need to make it an actual movement and get behind your sport as a collective. As a collective, get behind your sport. And that includes beach. That includes indoor. That includes the national teams. Start caring about volleyball, please.
Well said. Yeah, if the way to make people, like important people, the NCAA Division I universities, the way to make them turn their eyes towards men's volleyball is for a greater number of people to care actively, and to care with their wallets. I think in American volleyball fans are expecting to get everything for free. We have people in the Discord who refuse to pay $5 a month for ESPN Plus to watch any games, when the streaming numbers of college men's volleyball games matter tremendously. Nobody wants to go to a game and pay $10 for a ticket. You can't get things for free. You can't make changes for free. You need to support this thing actively and with your checkbooks for any change to be noticed above that. So that's one message.
Can I back that up a little bit? You know what fucking pisses me off the most, Rob? Is that back in 2010, I started listening to a little podcast called The Net Live. Kevin Barnett, DJ Roche, Reed Pretty, originally Dan Madden. It was the basis of listening to The Net Live made me want to work in volleyball. And this is the exact same goddamn conversations we were having around this 15 years ago. And you could make the fucking argument that we were in a better spot 15 fucking years ago. There was more NCAA teams.
Yeah, we had more programs. We had Pacific. We had Cal Baptist. We had Grand Canyon in their second year with that's the thing that's the most heartbreaking about this. People who are not American don't understand how difficult it is in this country to get anything done in men's volleyball. You really don't understand the disparity that there is in this country for men's versus women's volleyball. Volleyball is the most gender equitable sport on the planet, everywhere except here. The opportunities available for girls and women to play volleyball at the high school level, at the junior club level, at the university level, and now very recently the pro level in the United States outnumber those of the men's by orders of magnitude. It's not close. Hundreds of times more opportunities, thousands of times more at the high school level, infinitely more opportunities at the pro level. 2, 3, going on 4 leagues compared to 0 that actually have money.
Some of that, a lot of that is supply and demand, though, right? The reality is that
the reason why there's supply is because the opportunities exist. We can't build supply where there is no opportunities.
Supply right now, it wouldn't fill out, right? If you told every single Division I university tomorrow to make a mandate, you need to support men's volleyball. Men's volleyball would be an absolute joke.
Yeah, of course. That's not what I'm saying. It's not about the NCAA. Less than half of the states in America, it is possible to play for your high school as a boy on your volleyball team. But
goes back to
insane.
It goes back to the exact same conversation that they were having 15 years ago on the Net Live about how the Title IX, one of the biggest losers within Title IX, has to be men's volleyball.
It's the number one loser within Title IX.
The number one loser within Title IX has to be men's volleyball. But I do want to say one thing about that, and that is a call out to our women's volleyball players and fans, right? I don't know of I know very few men's volleyball fans who won't support women's volleyball. They may not watch it and they may not follow it, but if they have an opportunity to go to a women's volleyball game, they are there because they're fans of the sport. I know this for a fact that it is much, much, much harder to get women's players involved and just watching men's volleyball. They don't give a shit, right? And this is something that I've heard now time and time again. Like Ariel Houlihan voices this as well, and this comes down to women's volleyball players, because once women's volleyball is on the rise, it is happening. Once things once they're big, it is your duty to support men's volleyball.
Yep.
Just like in the exact same way that everyone looks to the NBA players, everyone looks to, everyone looks to the big male players to support the women's sports. In volleyball, it's going to have to be the other way. Yep. And you guys need to start stepping up, because I absolutely guarantee you, you're not I've heard people been oh, well, if men's volleyball gets bigger, it's going to take away from women's volleyball. Not anymore. Not anymore. You guys are cooking in your own kitchen. You have your own supply situation, right? So now investing into men's volleyball is only going to make women's volleyball bigger. That's right. The only thing that's going to start happening, because you're going to start watching volleyball at these institutions year fucking round.
Yep. Another thing that I've said for a long time is that the gender disparity in the United States for volleyball opportunities, the high school, junior club, and university levels, if the genders were swapped, there would be riots in the streets.
Yes, but it's because Rob, you've made I'm sorry, you've made this argument before and we've gotten backlash before it. So I'm going to cut that off there. Right? No, yes, yes, we care. So right? Because the reality is that it wouldn't be the case flipped around. Right? These things are in place. This is a supply and demand thing, right? There's a reason that most of these schools haven't covered carried men's volleyball, and why most states haven't carried it as the men's. We need to be aware that we are viewed as a women's sport, right? And this as much as I you've grown up within this sport. I guarantee you that you've told someone at college when you were in Purdue that you played volleyball, and they go, volleyball, right? So let's stop acting like it should be equal, because it's never been treated equal, and it is just the reality of it. Oh, right. We picked, and the reality of it too, as men, the majority of us picked volleyball because we kind of sucked at the other sports.
That's
right.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I played other sports at a high level, and then I was, on a provincial medaling team, and then played college volleyball.
Yeah,
right.
I chose volleyball because I liked it the most, and I thought that it was the best, and I thought that it was the best for me.
But that's what I'm saying.
I still think it's the best on-court product in all of sports, and I think that it gives so much to the people that play it, and that is why it's so painful for me for news like this to happen, because it is such a tremendous uphill battle to get anything done in men's volleyball in this country. The First Point Foundation has done amazing work, at life-changing work for many. There are entire university conferences that exist because of the First Point Volleyball Foundation. There are boys in states, in high schools across the country who know what volleyball is now, because their high school has a team, and they 100%. Can play now in places that they could not, when I was growing up. That's awesome. Arizona is not one of those states. Arizona is a damn good volleyball state. They had it all. They had great boys high school scene. They had a great boys junior club scene. They have very good NAIA universities. There are several pretty good NAIA schools you can play at in Arizona. There are 3 very good men's club teams: Arizona, Arizona State, and GCU, who I assume is about to get a lot better. The adult scene in Arizona is very good. The pinnacle of all of that was GCU. That was the beacon in the middle of the Valley of the Sun that kids growing up could see. They've seen it. They could go to the games. They could have something to aspire to. They had a chance to play great volleyball at home, and that was just taken away from them. And that's what hurts the most, is because it's so hard to build.
Don't make this an equality conversation.
It's not. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. It's so hard to build in men's volleyball because of the barriers that are there. It takes a split second to tear something away. That's what this boneheaded administration at GCU just did.
Yeah. I mean, it's just once again a reminder that no one gives a shit about volleyball. And yeah, like especially men's volleyball, right? Like no one gives a shit about men's volleyball in the United States. And the reason that no one gives a shit about men's volleyball is because our own fans don't even give a shit about men's volleyball. How many of those club like players or like university guys have ever like watched that stuff, right? So there needs to be something different. And I'm sorry, but you guys need to stop whining about the NCAA and not giving you guys your flowers and your opportunities, because that's going to happen, and create your own, like do something on your own with it. Because like the NCAA is not there. Like the NCAA is like, if they don't give a shit about their athletes and how they're like being promoted and how they're being like taught at like for football and like basketball, do you think they give a shit about volleyball? Right? Like USA Volleyball, not USA Volleyball, the entity, but American Volleyball, it needs to come together behind all of this and do something with it. I think you're right. Like First Point has been doing incredible things. And there's still so much there to grow, but it's not going to happen if you guys aren't like have a united front about this.
That for sure. The American volleyball fan needs to be better, and we need to support it more. That comes from the women's side. That comes from everywhere, without question. The growth efforts are there. It's just frustrating that there are barriers that are not within our control that are set up to prevent the growth of men's volleyball. There are so many things that we cannot do about that. We cannot convince an NCAA Division I institution to start a men's volleyball program because it's not profitable for them and because they can't do it because of Title IX.
But you can pack a gym to watch it and be like, oh, maybe this is profitable. Maybe this is a way to
we can and must start to do that.
Yes.
But even if we can do that, let's say Purdue, for example. Let's say Purdue sees that, because Purdue women's volleyball sells out every game. They have great volleyball culture. Let's say they see that, say, you know what I think would do really well at this university? A men's volleyball team. Then they go and look at their numbers of how many men's sports they have, how many women's sports they have, and the conversation ends right there, because there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, I do. Like, just when you get into the conversation of Title IX, like, once again, that's something that we don't really have here in Canada. Just because, we believe in equality. It's one of our base beliefs. That's why the Conservatives lost last night. So like, I don't know if we even have like a certain type of like regulation within that. Like, I just know schools who have that like thought process of like, if I'm going to bring on a men's team, like I need to bring on a women's team. If I'm wrong on that, someone tell me in the chat or the comments or something afterwards. But like, it just comes back to me. Wait, what were we talking about again? I just completely lost while watching Perugia the beginning of the second set.
I don't care about what Perugia and Piacenza are doing. This is a terrible decision that will have massive effects on men's volleyball that nobody who has been fighting so hard for this sport asked for or deserves. I feel terrible for the players. I feel terrible for the coaches, the players that had committed to GCU, the players that are currently on the GCU team who now have to transfer or who even knows what. It is horrible. It is a terrible decision. The decision does not make any sense for the reasons that we talked about. And the things that are out there right now to do, one, my good friend Matt August, who was an assistant coach at Grand Canyon last year, started a petition just yesterday on change.org. There's already, I think, 15,000 signatures on it. I'll make sure we put that in the video description. You all need to fill that out. This is step one of volleyball fans in America acting upon something. It costs you nothing. You need to click. You need to fill out a couple boxes of information, and you need to sign that thing. You have to do that. It costs you nothing. It's very important that you do that. There's a fundraiser available as well. But here's the thing. I don't know if I even want. I don't know if throwing money at this will solve the problem. I don't know where the money goes. I also don't know if Grand Canyon University even deserves a men's volleyball program at this point. Grand Canyon men's volleyball became legitimately nationally great in spite of the university and the athletic department. That's very clear by Matt Worley's midseason departure, that he was getting no support whatsoever from his own athletic department. I don't know if Grand Canyon, like the players, the fans, the coaches, and the alumni deserve that program. The university does not deserve that program. I don't.
Are we in a position though to pick and choose?
No, I'm sure that we're not. But like, even if this program were to be saved, if people were to come together and save it, what makes you think that anything is going to be different according to the university? That's what's scary to me, is like, because we don't know why it was really cut in the first place. Like Stanford, that one I get. The University of Pacific in like 2014 or 15, whenever that was, 14. I get that one as well. Those were rationalized, and then Stanford has the endowment and the elitely wealthy and successful alumni base. They were able to come in and save it, and it wasn't like the athletic department was working against those programs. GCU's athletic department is working against this program. I think if they were able to miraculously save this thing, I don't know if it lasts another 2 years. So that's really scary.
That's the thing too. Like it kind of reminds me of a situation where like a company is going, out of business, and they have a clearance sale, and they do so well with their clearance sale that it like gives them a little bit of life, and like, don't worry, we're not actually going out of business, and they're coming back from it. Like once again, that I just think that this is just another wake up call that there needs to be a fundamental change within American volleyball and American men's volleyball specifically. That there needs to be a coming together within the community, because the community is so scattered and so apart right now. And there's nothing to come to bring you all together. Like I love U Sport Nationals because it doesn't really matter that it's a national championship. Like it feels like a Canadian volleyball celebration, and everyone's there, and everyone's giving each other love and stuff like that. And I always love that it's a great celebration. I've never been to the NCAA Final Four. I don't know if it has the same emotional value. Like you'll have to tell me that.
It doesn't. I was there last year. It doesn't feel the same way because it's so difficult for teams to get there, and it's so not representative of the entire country. So like events like junior boys nationals, when it used to be unified, which currently it's not, that's another conversation. College club nationals, adult open indoor nationals, things like WAPACA, things like Manhattan Beach 6-man, like these events do feel like
this is exactly what I mean, is that there's like there's these different volleyball cultures that don't help each other and don't support each other. Like the same amount of people, like the same people who go to like WAPACA and like 6-man and stuff like that, a lot of the time aren't the ones who are supporting like the NCAA.
Right. That's because the fans are bad. They would rather play volleyball than watch volleyball. They don't support it. And then when they have an opportunity to support it, they refuse to pay any money for it. That's a massive issue. But another massive issue is just that there just aren't any options. There's just nothing out there. The NCAA is so limited. There's nothing out there. If you're from 45 states in the union, you don't even have a team in your state that you can root for. Even if you have good, like Wisconsin is a great example. Wisconsin is a fantastic volleyball state. They are producing, yes, fantastic, especially on the boys' side. Their boys' junior club scene and high school scene is amazing. They are sending athletes to every good university. But there literally is not a Division I team in that state that they can root for. They don't have a place that they can go to a game locally that they can then see.
How many schools are in Wisconsin, though?
What, universities?
Yeah.
Dozens
Really?
and dozens. Oh my God, yes. The University of Wisconsin system alone has double digits. like it's not that dissimilar from the University of California system. There's that many different campuses. Like Wisconsin-Madison, the main one, puts 10,000 people at volleyball games and they're a national championship contender.
Yeah. But I fully understand like Madison, Wisconsin being like the one good one. But like you're telling me that there's enough people in Wisconsin, or like is the university system also for the sheep there? Like I'm not.
Oh, there's lots of levels to it, but there are plenty of D1 schools. Marquette in Milwaukee is a really good school. UW Milwaukee, like we don't need to get into the details of Wisconsin, but if you're a boys volleyball player in Wisconsin, it's not like you even have something that you can see, that you can aspire to. It's not there. It doesn't exist. You play high school, and then there's nothing that you can do within your own state because the opportunity isn't there. So that's the part that sucks. Is like even when the people do the thing that we're asking them to do and care and go and participate and even spend some money, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to watch. There's nothing to do in so many cases. And that limitation comes at the NCAA level. And so now the entire state of Arizona just lost their light on top of the hill. They lost that thing that they can shoot for. And now the entire state of Arizona is going to become the state of Wisconsin because they have great volleyball players and nothing that can retain them there and continue to build because Grand Canyon's gone. It is heartbreaking.
There needs to be some type of coming together for boys and men's volleyball in the United States. My suggestion would be just to get behind First Point. Like First Point is that they are doing that work. And I think honestly what hurts so much about the fact that like losing programs like Pacific and Cal Baptist and stuff like that sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, that sucks. But when you're looking at the quality of that program and what Matt Worley had done over there and you know how good they were becoming in a non-traditional volleyball state. I know that they have good numbers, but like name me one really good player from Arizona.
JT Hatch, Zach Rama, like there are a bunch of kids playing high level D1 right now that are from Arizona.
Yeah, okay, but like
Whatever.
me as like it's not going to be there. But also when it comes that all of this grassroots movement has been doing good, when you look at the amount of schools that have started or states that have started taking boys volleyball on at the high school level, kind of since 2018 is phenomenal. So I think that this just like if you're listening to this right now and you've got money, like look up First Point Foundation. Like if you have things to be able to offer them, look up First Point Foundation. And if you're Wade Gerard and you happy to listen to this, like fucking bear down and go harder on it. Yeah. Right? Like go in even harder on this because you're having the effect on like the bottom levels and it's only going to get bigger. And then schools like GC are going to realize how much they fucked up.
I wish that were true.
Yeah, I know. I'm speaking
it's not true because the First Point Foundation is having the success and the impact at every level where that impact is possible. High school, the number of states that have added boys high school volleyball in the last 10 years is really a game changer for our sport in our country, and that is all great work from First Point. The number of NAIA let me finish. The NAIA program growth, tremendous. NAIA men's volleyball is a big deal now because it can be. Schools can add it because they can. There's nothing at the institutional level stopping them, and it helps get more students in the door. So at universities that are that small, that's why they're doing it. Same with at the NCAA Division III level. You can pop up more programs now because they can, and it's good for the university to guarantee another 25 students. So that's great.
So this is exactly
at the Division II even the SEAC conference, the NEC, the Conference Carolinas, those didn't exist 10 years ago because schools that didn't have football were convinced and endowed by the First Point Foundation to start these programs.
I get your point. You just got to take the highway there, not the scenic route.
It's not possible at the Division I level.
So this is exactly what I was going to be saying. Does men's volleyball come into a situation where, like, you know what? If you are a Penn State, if you're a UCSC, if you're a UCLA, we love having you. We love having you be here. But as First Point, don't focus on the D1 teams, right? Like, is it possible? Do you think it's possible to create, especially when you look at the landscape of what the NCAA might be in 5 to 10 years? When you look at how
the NCAA might not
when you look,
exist in 5 years.
exactly, this is exactly what I'm saying. When you look at how NIL is changing the landscape altogether in the NCAA, women's volleyball is a much different sport. But if the AVCA, maybe First Point Foundation, were to come in and like, what if there was like a secondary championship amongst all these teams, amongst the NIAs, amongst the Division twos, amongst the Division threes? Like, if there was something apart from it to be like, this is the AVCA volleyball championship. NCAA teams are allowed, NAI teams are allowed. Like, there is just, like they figure out, and this is what we're going to get behind. Because there's a twofold conversation here when you talk about this national championship as well, right? Is that one, you have the big teams who are going to crush the little teams, but then you have all of these little teams who doesn't really mean much for them to go to nationals, right? Like a trip to nationals is different. I'll call it the tournament to make it you guys, but like, if you're one of these teams and you're just going there for a one and done, it's a 1-2-3 barbecue, it's a 1-2 barbecue, like it's really not that good. It's like the shitty teams who should be playing in the CEV Cup who are playing in Champions League, right? Can we have a situation here where the institutions are just supporting this stuff, and the teams and programs are still bringing value to the institutions, but you start maybe pushing that focus a little away from the NCAA? Like, I'm just spitballing here.
So I think it's a fantastic idea and a fantastic conversation. I don't know the details of like the rules of the NCAA or any potential consequences there could be there, but because of all the chaos that's going on in the NCAA right now as an institution, there is a very real chance that entire institution doesn't exist in a decade. And then everything's different. I mean, already they're capping rosters at 18 next year, and that's going to change everything as well. That everything is changing. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. In a way, the NCAA is not totally to blame for some of the things that are changing right now, because they've gotten all their old regulations sued out of them by antitrust lawsuits. So like right now, the NCAA controls less than they ever have.
Yeah, so that's
on the men's volleyball side, they are still very much to blame for stifling the growth of it. Like, the easiest example is the official NCAA men's volleyball social media account hasn't posted in 2 years.
Yeah, that's the easy one. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
But so this is what I'm saying though, right? Is that if this institution that runs everything isn't going to give you guys the support and what you need, maybe that's time for like a USAV or maybe like a First Point or another entity that has yet to become to kind of step in there and be like, no, we're gonna
doing something else,
and we're gonna do something else.
I love the idea. I think it's similar to when like USA Volleyball, the organization USA Volleyball, they're in big trouble right now on the junior boys side because they had the monopoly on junior boys nationals, and there was no alternative, and it wasn't a good enough experience. And then AAU came in and said, what if we created an alternative experience that was better? And all the good clubs said, peace out, USAV. We have an alternative option. We're going to take it. It's similar to that. And if somebody were to create that and figure out a way to make it profitable, then I support it already. I support the idea of it, and I want to be involved in it 100%.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know, like, it seems like Matt Houlihan is like the smartest fucking person in volleyball. Maybe he does something, because like I did prep for this show by listening to the coaches podcast.
Yeah, so, they got on the mic yesterday or today about it.
Yeah.
This is really bad. Who knows what the hell's going on in the long term, but in the near term for men's volleyball in my country, this is really, really bad. And I again want to apologize and support everybody in the Grand Canyon, players, coaches, alumni, recruits, fans, of which there are many, employees, whatever. None of you deserve this, and your university sucks, and nobody should ever support Grand Canyon University athletics in any way. Nobody should be aware of the fact that Grand Canyon University is a publicly traded company, and you can do with that information whatever you want. But this sucks. It's really sad in a time when we should be celebrating NCAA men's volleyball with the tournament coming up, and instead we have to have all these conversations, and this one about GCU. It's brutal. I will try to end the show on a good note. One opportunity that is there for to play collegiate volleyball in this country is at the NCAA Division III level, which is good and it is growing. It outputs like European caliber pros all the time. There are good teams. There are guys that go on and have great careers. I mean, Matt Worley himself, who we've been talking about, is a Division III product. And congratulations to Southern Virginia University, a relatively new program. They won their first national title ever.
That's like I follow a little bit of D3.
Southern Virginia University.
That's so random. I didn't even know they played volleyball in Virginia.
So Virginia, I'm here right now, coincidentally, but it's underrated. The DC area is a decent men's pocket, and the Richmond area is a decent men's pocket. But like,
I've played against Richmond before, actually. Now that you mention it, I've played against Richmond before at the Penn State tournament. We beat them.
So there's some talent there. There's like this sort of area of the country, like the Conference Carolinas. There's some talent, but Southern Virginia University beat Springfield last night to win their first national championship ever. Springfield is a powerhouse. They're from Western Mass. They're like attached very much to like the founding of the sport in Western Massachusetts back in the day. They have been awesome. They've won national championships in the past, but there's a new team on top and just a new area of the country represented in Division III. So this match was last night. I watched the end of it. It was very fun. It was good ball.
And see, this is what I'm saying about these D2 and these D3 schools. Like they just give it like a much more regional feel about it. And I don't know. I'm just about it. I think something needs to be done there, guys.
Yeah, I'm about it too. The growth
we're happy to stream. We're happy to stream.
For sure. The growth opportunities are there in D3. You can pop up a program anywhere. You can use it to help attract students to your student body, get tuition payments in. Like for universities that are this small, it makes a hell of a lot of sense to add men's volleyball with as fast as it's growing and as fast as Southern Virginia founded a program and won a national championship. Like use this as a case for what this could do for your university if you're making decisions.
And this is the thing though too, because as these smaller guys, like as all the smaller guys, like you mentioned it. Now I have a hard time believing that Wisconsin has that many D1 schools, but I digress. Like what, Bowling Green, isn't that one of them?
Bowling Green's in Ohio. There's two Bowling Greens. One's Ohio, one's Kentucky.
Whatever. If like all the little guys are repping it around for a while, let's hope that the big guys keep doing it. So that's why I think like if you guys just keep on investing, a lot of little sticks can make a big fire, whereas like a few big logs can't really. So
yeah, man, it's just the pipeline from the lowest levels to the highest level in American men's volleyball. That pipe runs through men's NCAA Division I, and that pipe just got narrower.
Oh yeah, that's a skinny ass pipe. That's a skinny ass pipe.
Couldn't be skinnier. It is
like when like legitimately, when do you think who do you think the last, like, who's the last impactful American-born player? TJ?
Oh, like internationally?
Yeah, like who's the last player to come out of the NCAA as an American and make an impact in a big league?
Yeah, there hasn't been one post-COVID. Unless Gabby Garcia doesn't count.
Like Ewert, but because he's
Ewert, Ensing, Isaacson, they won a championship in France last year.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's just yikes.
It's tough, man. It's bad for volleyball in my country. It's so uniquely American, this problem and this landscape. But hopefully it's a wake-up call for a lot of people to come together and unite and get behind it. But and hopefully that starts with making next week's NCAA Division I tournament into a real celebration and maximizing that as best we can. But even that, we're fighting against the NCAA, the institution, on it. So
yeah,
it's tough. Yeah, I'll make sure that everyone has a link to the petition to support Grand Canyon and the program. I personally won't be throwing any of my money at it. But I want to lend my voice and my support to the people affected by it for sure.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. Well, that's the most we've ever talked about American volleyball. It's been over an hour, but it's also needed.
Yeah,
right?
It's important.
Right? It's a good thing that we left, because originally when we were about to do the show, I was like, do you want to open with GCU just so you get the rant out of the way? We started. You brought up the GCU graphic like 45 minutes ago, so that would imagine if we spent 45 minutes talking about this bullshit at the top
beginning of the show. Yeah, that would not have been a very good show.
All right.
So there's still volleyball going on. We're still going to try and be optimistic about it. Women's championship this weekend.
Yeah. Well, first game one of the
watch-alongs.
PlusLiga finals tomorrow. It's going to be at noon. There will be a watch along going along with it. Game two of the Italian league is going to be going down on Thursday. Let's also do a watch along for that. Come hang out. I know there's some people, I don't know if they're in the chat anymore, but there was one guy, Reality Check at the beginning, was talking about, like, it was a good time. We were just there shooting the shit. They were asking questions. People were coming in and out. We were making fun of Rob. Yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, we will. I'll post it. I don't want to, like, because like the live watch along is very much like, come join if you want. Like, you don't get anything except for my ugly face talking shit about the game. Like, you don't get to watch the game. Like, maybe also some live stats. It's very low key. So I'm just gonna post it one time in the respective league chat, and then I'll post it one time in the podcast area, but not tag everyone. So, you know, you can come hang out, ask some questions. Yeah, there may be some possibilities in the very, very near future to call in and to be like to be a part of it all, but we're gonna figure that out. Yeah,
we're gonna figure that out later. Everett's the hub Everett is referring to is the Volleyball Source Discord. Got to join that. There's a link in our description to be a part of that. If you're here and you're to hear about men's NCAA, we got a channel for that that's increasingly active. So make sure you get in there and join your fellow volleyball fans. And yeah, there's also shout out to our guy Philippe from Germany, who built the today's matches bot. That's one of the channels you can figure out when and where all the games are happening. So yes. Big week of volleyball. We're going to hand out some more trophies. And
Philippe. He's German, not French.
You correcting me on pronunciations. That's hilarious.
But yes, exactly. You're the one who should care about this fucking shit. So, like, pronounce it like it should be pronounced.
We will see y'all on next week's show. I'll be back at home. We'll see you then.
Peace.